Hi warriors, Hannah here and welcome back to another video. I have gotten so many requests to record some meals, some recipe ideas, and you know what? I finally got around to it. Personally, I absolutely love cheap, quick, tasty meals, so that is exactly what I'm going to show you. I have compiled 3 recipes for you. One using wraps, one using pasta, and one using potatoes, just to mix things up a little bit. And I will share with you the recipes for these delicious meals, so stay tuned. For the wraps, you can honestly use whatever you want. I just chopped up a bok choy, a broccoli, and another green, just because I thought it'd be fun to just stick with that green trend I had going on. And then I obviously put in some chopped garlic, I put in some sun-dried tomatoes and some sun-dried tomato oil, and then I fried everything up, added some spices, some smoked paprika and some herbs, and some tomato puree and tomato sauce. And then I just let that simmer for absolute ages. You don't have to let it simmer for that long, but I really like how it then thickens up. I also added a little bit of marmite and some olives just for a bit of extra flavor in there. Then you just serve that with wraps. Or if you have more time and less money, you can make your own wraps. I made my wraps with 500 grams of wholemeal flour, 250 milliliters of warm water, and about half a teaspoon of salt, which I then kneaded for about 10 minutes and allowed to rise for 20 minutes before I tried to flatten it, which took absolutely ages because it got very, the dough got very elastic, which was a good sign, but which made flattening it out very difficult. Obviously, if you're a student with a little bit more money and a little bit less time, then I suggest just getting wraps in the shops. They're really not that expensive. And that is what I usually do. But on this occasion, I decided to try out something new. For my next recipe, I made vegan tuna pasta. It is delicious. For this pasta, you're going to need whatever vegetables you like. Chop them up, put them in a pan or put them in the oven, whatever you want to do. But for this recipe, I think it's quite nice to just have some easy frozen vegetables. I think just some corn and some peas will do, to be honest. You also need carrots and chickpeas and some vegan mayonnaise, or make your own with milk and olive oil and lemon. To make this recipe, boil your pasta according to package instructions, and then make the quote-unquote tuna. To do so, mash a can of chickpeas. I actually used 2 cans because I wanted to make a massive amount in order to meal prep for the next day for lunch. But if you're going to stick with one meal, then I think 1 can of chickpeas is more than enough. So mash up your chickpeas and then grate your carrots and combine them. Also shred in some seaweed. I think nori seaweed is perfect for this because it's the perfect amount of sea flavor and salty flavor to make it a bit fishy. Then add your mayonnaise. I'm not quite sure how much mayonnaise you need, but it is a fair amount so that it's a bit wet and a bit saucy. I have made my own before. I think it was a 1-to-1 ratio of oil and milk, and then add a bit of lemon juice to that. But if you're feeling particularly lazy or you don't have a lot of time, then like me, you can just buy some mayonnaise in the shop. I used vegan mayonnaise for this, and combine that, maybe add some salt and pepper to your mixture, and there you go. Your tuna is ready. All you then have to do is add your frozen vegetables to the pasta just before it finishes, drain the pasta, and combine everything together. I also added some pickles on this occasion, and I think it went really, really well with this meal. So do try it out and let me know what you think. If you make the recipe, definitely put it up on Instagram and tag me, because I love to see your creations. The meal I decided to make today was a bit different from what I usually do, because I decided to get a few vegetables that I don't usually get. Anyway, I really love cheesy, creamy sauces, and you probably all know my cashew cheesy sauce by now, so I decided to make a different cheesy sauce and to just sort of roll with it. I really love carrot and cauliflower when I make cheesy dishes, so I got both of them. Before I started boiling, I first put some vegan fish fingers in the oven because they were bound to take the longest, and then I started boiling my potatoes and boiling my lentils. They would be used for the sauce. For the sauce, I also added some garlic, some mustard, some smoked paprika, some lemon juice, some nutritional yeast, some cashew butter, or just cashew works as well if you've got a strong blender, and then just a bit of plant-based milk to thin it down. Once you combine that with the lentils, it becomes a really nice creamy sauce, and it's got a bit more protein than if you just only use cashews, so I really love it. I combined the sauce with the cauliflower once it finished boiling, and then I had that with my potatoes and my fish fingers. It's a fairly quick thing to make, especially if you have 3 pots, as opposed to me, I only have 2 pots, so I had to wait for one thing to finish boiling to put the next one on. However, I did find that because I used the oven and the pots and the blender, I did have quite a bit to wash up afterwards. Still, it was a cheap meal, a very nice meal, and I made a lot, so I'm prepped for the next few days. Anyway, if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you aren't subscribed yet, honestly, what are you doing? I looked at my analytics recently. There's so many people watching my videos without subscribing. How crazy is that? Be sure to subscribe. Anyway, if you try out any of these recipes, post them on Instagram, send them over on Snapchat, tag me. I'd love to see what you get up to. Have fun cooking, and I will see you soon.